and welcome to our special coverage on the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. I'm Li Qiuyuan in Beijing. Our show is co-produced with Pakistan's national broadcaster PTV World. Together, we will reveal the changes the BRI has brought to China and Pakistan during the past decade and explore new potential for bilateral cooperation.
Hello everyone, this is Umar Khalid Butt joining you from Pakistan from our PTV World studios in Islamabad. We, of course, with Cgtn will be discussing the importance of the BRI with specific reference to the CPEC, that is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor.
The decade-old China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative. It's been hailed as a symbol of friendship between Beijing and Islamabad. The project involves northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and the whole of Pakistan. Cooperation includes connectivity, energy, trade and industrial parks, agricultural development and poverty alleviation, tourism, livelihoods, and non-governmental exchanges and finance. Chinese President Xi Jinping called it a vivid testament to the all-weather friendship between China and Pakistan. Energy and transport infrastructures were the main focus during the first 9-year phase. Major projects completed during this time included the Sahiwa coal-fired power plant, the cross-border optical fiber cable, the Orange Line of the Lahore Metro in Lahore and Gwadar Port. Construction of these projects has added 6,000 megawatts of power generating capacity, 886 kilometers to the power transmission network, and 510 kilometers of highways. Now let's hand things over to PTV World anchor Omar Khalid Butt in Islamabad. Omar.
Thank you, Chilwan. Before we go to our guests and start our discussion, let's watch this short report from our side on how important the CPEC is for Pakistan.
This year marks the 10th anniversary of China proposed Belt and Road Initiative, a global cooperation platform that demonstrates China's vision for global development and offers solutions to the reform of the global governance system and multifaceted challenges. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, a signature project of BRI envisaged in 2013, has earned global recognition and growing esteem. The CPEC, as a new benchmark of bilateral cooperation, is serving as a powerful, cohesive force connecting the people of China and Pakistan, further strengthening their friendship and solidifying bilateral relations. Under the rubric of CPEC, the two countries initiated and completed multiple projects in the past 10 years in the energy, transport, infrastructure, port, airport development, and digital connectivity. Signaling remarkable developments, CPEC projects garnered $25.4 billion investment from China. Catalyzing prosperity at grassroots level, CPEC projects generated 192,000 employment opportunities. Additionally, they have facilitated the production of 6,000 megawatts of electric power, the construction of 510 kilometers of highways, and the expansion of the national transmission network by 886 kilometers. One of the watershed developments during 10 years is the operation of Gwadar Port, crown jewel of the CPEC. During Chinese Vice Premier He Lifeng's latest 3-day visit to Pakistan to celebrate the CPEC's 10th anniversary in Islamabad, both countries reaffirmed to expedite second phase with focus on industrial cooperation, trade, agriculture and socio-economic development. The decade of development under CPEC framework and its shift into higher gear proves that milestone BRI project leads to win-win situation both for China, Pakistan and the region.
Let me introduce my two eminent guests who've joined me for the Pakistani side of this important show on CPEC. On my very right is Dr. Hassan Dawood Butt. He's a former project director of CPEC. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, to have joined us. Our second guest is Humayun Khan. He's an international, regional and China affairs expert. Humayun, thank you very much to have joined us. Let's begin with you, Dr. Hassan Dawood Butt. 10 years of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. President Xi Jinping also highlighted the importance of this friendship, this collaboration, this strong bond that exists between both the countries. 10 years of this important milestone, what have been the important hallmarks of CPEC?
I think when we discussed 10 years of CPEC, we also need to understand the headwinds that were there, starting from COVID-19 and also the Russia-Ukraine crisis. But amidst all this, CPEC has actually stood out as one of the key elements that has helped Pakistan work on its economy, regional connectivity, poverty alleviation. And as perhaps President Xi said, it's a path towards shared prosperity. And it has actually demonstrated how strongly bonded we are, not just as neighbors, but as brothers, iron brothers, and perhaps when we move forward, new areas and avenues would come out. So I think for me, last 10 years have been great as far as CPEC is concerned. We have improved our blue economy through Gwadar. We have improved our regional connectivity through road infrastructure. We are now working on railway. I think the energy crisis has been over now, where we have had about 6,000 megawatt of energy, around 800 kilometers of transmission line. So for me, it has been great.
One of the challenges, Humayun, is the energy shortage in Pakistan, and for that China Pakistan economic corridor is proving to be a very important step in the right direction. Would you like to elaborate more?
This was the time when there was energy deficit in our country. I'm talking when we started the CPEC, and almost 2 to 3% of our GDP was losing because we didn't have energy and market was going out, industry was like trying to relocate. That's exactly the time our iron brother came to help us. Having said that, 10 years we have added 8,000 megawatts. Some of the projects are already there, and few are going to be completed in this year, and few are going to be completed in the next couple of months and years as well. That is again a feat in itself. Having said that, now we are also in the second phase, where not only that we are in itself, we are moving to the second phase. We are part of Belt and Road, we are part of Global Development Initiative, we are part of Global Security Initiative, we are part of Global Eco-Civilization Initiative of the Chinese President. What are these initiatives, how they are going to gel with China-Pakistan Economic Corridor? We have a huge population. Climate change is something which is very much hurting us. Pakistan, along with China, G77 plus China, this was last year's when COP27 was happening, we were able to make losses and damages part of this initiative, where we need sustainable development. So now in the second phase of CPEC, we are going to involve these projects which are going to be eco-friendly, sustainable for a long term, and green energy. So I think China-Pakistan economic relations, CPEC, and overall this relationship is going on in a trajectory, in a way where this eco and sustainable development is going to help not only Pakistan and China, but the entire region. We have Afghanistan on our neighbor, we have Iran on the other side, we have Central Asian countries, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, all other countries. And if we can implement these projects, which is the vision of the leadership of both the countries, I think this is a win-win situation, and sky is the limit for us.
Dr. Hassan Dawood, but the world economic order is changing with a changing geostrategic and geopolitical environment, not only in the region but across the world. In your point of view, how can Pakistan and China leverage the China-Pakistan economic corridor to thrive in this new order?
I think China's role in the region is growing. China's connectivity through not just the Belt and Road Initiative, recent events in around BRICS in South Africa, I think they are significant. And I think with this role happening, what we are witnessing is a transformation where Asia is now taking the lead, and also middle income countries are taking the lead in terms of economic decision maker. And as it goes, we are lucky that at this point of time in our history, we are associated with one of the major initiatives in the region, where regional connectivity is not just the economies, but also regional trade. And if it goes forward and with the speed that it is going, I think some of the political issues will also be addressed, like in Afghanistan, because you can't just have one country in between which stays out of getting the benefits of the Belt and Road Initiative. And I think the way that China is approaching Afghanistan, the way China is approaching rest of the developing world, I think we can improve our economy, not just ours, but also of the region. What Pakistan can leverage is and also in this time, three things are very important. And one is the geography, other is the human resource, and third is the regional connectivity. And we are blessed in many ways that we are placed in a situation where we connect energy-rich countries with energy-deficient and energy-demand countries. We're right in the center, and if we leverage that well through our good human resource, through our regional connectivity, through not just road, rail, but also gas and energy pipelines, I think Pakistan has a long way to go in terms of achieving what it wants to, and also perhaps work on the long-term plan of CPEC, because the first 10 years are over. the next 10 years canvas should be now played, where more connectivity and energy projects in terms of renewable, as you said, and also gas and oil pipelines should be worked on. Also, I think one area where we need to work on, and the joint working group of third party participation, which is under MOFA, has to work on, is perhaps attracting more investment from other countries like Turkey, like Saudi Arabia, which are active members of the Belt and Road Initiative. And it's easier said than done, perhaps in terms of diplomacy, but I think in terms of Belt and Road Initiative, we can just use the Belt and Road Forum, which is perhaps happening in October, set up our case, take our pitch book with us with projects. And I think Pakistan has a great position at this time, and we are very lucky that CPEC is there. We are very lucky that China is moving forward through Belt and Road Initiative.
Humayun, Dr. Hassan Daud Butt alluded to investment by foreign countries. How much of interest has been shown by countries across the world as far as their involvement in the special economic zones are concerned, or other projects under the CPEC?
I think there has been a tremendous interest. The reason why, because we've already set up the tone. We have infrastructure laid, we have economic policies that we are formulating. Unfortunately, last couple of years we have certain levels of hurdles which every country, depending upon the size of this project, but we have moved beyond that. Now the infrastructure is there, the energy demands which was earlier not met now are already met. Now Saudi Arabia is very much interested, Qatar is there, UAE is there, Malaysia is there. Mr. Hassan Daud Butt can allude to it better because he's been part of that himself. 4 special economic zones are actively being involved. It's in Dhabeji, it's in Faisalabad, it's in Rashakai, or it's in Gawada, or for that matter in Islamabad as well. So I guess many countries and many companies are being interested because it's a very lucrative business. You have 25, 30 to 40 years of tax holidays. You can import a lot of machineries without taxes, and then you can, as he was also mentioning, we have a largest youth bulge in this country, and we have skill development centers being set up in the second phase as well, and this is also being discussed with our Chinese counterparts as well, that around 63% of our population is from 15 to 30 years, and that's something which is like a massive human resource. If we can tap into that, bring that into industry, and then create jobs and then export to the outside world, I guess this is something which will help not only Pakistan but the entire region.
Dr. Hassan Daud Butt, we managed to talk to the Vice Foreign Minister, Excellency Sun Weidong, recently in a special program that was also aired on our channel. In that, Mr. Sun Weidong also talked about the almost 200,000 jobs plus that have been given to different youth under the China-Pakistan economic corridor. How important is this also as far as one challenge that Pakistan confronts, that is employment?
Yes, it has provided 200,000 jobs, direct jobs, and also several, I think more than that.
More than 200,000 jobs, yes.
But what we have to do is, and perhaps we could have attracted more if we would have built our capacity better, especially in modern technologies, and used our vocational center better. So yes, it has provided us great opportunity for creating opportunities for job. We were able to send a lot of engineers to China to work on supercritical technology as far as energy sector was concerned, because some of the novel ideas and technologies were coming. So that has helped us. But moving forward, we need to work more on the technology, and again, their Chinese support can help us. Secondly, I think where China has actually helped us is also improving in the past 10 years, our export to China has risen by about 35%. Our seafood export to China just in the last year was more than 40%. There was a growth of about 40%. Our sesame seed export to China has grown. So these figures are also significant when you look at overall narrative that is being built around seafood.
And we look forward to that. So much that we've seen in the last 10 years, so much that we look forward to in the next 10 years. Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan Daud Butt. Thank you very much, Humayun Khan, to have joined us. It's over to you, Chilwan, at the CGTN studios in China.
Thank you, Omar. For further discussion, let's welcome Zhu Ahmed Khan, Research Fellow from the Belt and Road Strategy Institute at Tsinghua University and Fellow at Center for China and Globalization, and Professor Jiang Gong, Vice President of Research and Strategy at the University of International Business and Economics. Great to have both of you with us. Let me start with you, Professor. What made the biggest impression on you about CPEC? What kind of benefits has it brought to China?
I think, there's no doubt this is a resounding success. And I think you asked the question, what's the benefits to China? I think first of all, there are economic benefits. The trade between China and Pakistan as a result has been really increasing. And also China's investment in Pakistan has also been a great success in my view. But I think probably more importantly, it really tightens the relationship between the two countries, I guess, right? China and Pakistan been traditionally having a very good diplomatic relations and at a very close relationship, I would say at the ally level. Now it's even further strengthened because of the deeply intertwined economic relations between the two countries. So I think both from economic and political perspective, this is the model, in my view, success recipe for the Belt and Road Initiative.
Zoom, what do you think? You're from Pakistan, you now work in China. Did you feel the impact of CPEC?
Well, absolutely. I think the points that John mentioned resonate deeply with people in Pakistan. So first of all, of course, China and Pakistan, as we all know, we call each other iron brothers. It's a close relationship, a bond between people. But it was really in 2015 when the first phase was officially announced, and especially at a time when Pakistan was facing severe economic challenges. And the world was not interested in investing in Pakistan. Much needed energy infrastructure, much needed transportation infrastructure, and the special economic zones and Gwadar port, which has been, by the way, on Pakistan's plan for decades. So it was a transformative development for Pakistan. When the first phase was announced, I can tell you in April 2015, it was the biggest news in Pakistan. Let me rephrase, in fact, it was a breath of fresh air. And since then, as also Professor John mentioned, we have seen $60 billion of investment. We have seen upgradation of energy infrastructure in Pakistan at a pace that was unprecedented and unimaginable. We have seen improved transportation networks, Gwadar port is operational, and we have seen an impact on lives. 100,000 jobs at least are created directly or in connection with the CPEC projects. And what is also happening on the side is that people-to-people interaction, be it research institutes, universities, agriculture, technical and vocational education, and so on and so forth. So it really is bringing our relationship from a very close one on the diplomatic level towards economic, businesses, and people's engagement with each other.
These are real, tangible benefits that you're talking about. Let's also take a look at this. Joining our program is our reporter Cao Chufeng. She has visited the Carrot hydropower project in Pakistan, the first large-scale hydropower investment under the Belt and Road Initiative. Take a look.
And now at Cairo Hydropower Project, it was the first hydropower investment construction project under the Belt and Road Initiative. It's also the first hydropower project under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. It's now been put into use for more than 1 year, and statistics shows it can meet the electricity demands of more than 5 million local people. It's also a well-integrated project of the general plan of Pakistan that tries to upgrade its energy system into one that's more reliant on renewable resources. And now another thing I find very interesting while staying at Cairo is how this project has transformed the livelihood as well as the local economic dynamic in nearby area. I do have a story on that, so let's take a look. I meet Hainan at the Cairo hydropower project. He's a trainee engineer who's only worked here for about 2 months. But as a resident from a nearby village, he's known about the project for much longer.
They came there and first told the local people that we are going to build a dam here. First of all, nobody was believing that they are going to make a dam. So after 2 or 3 months, we realized that this was really going to happen. It is going to change the fate of this area. And it really did.
The dam ultimately influenced Hainan's choice of career. He decided to pursue electrical engineering as his major and came to work at Karot. Many others also found jobs here through a program that prioritizes jobs for local people. Hainan introduces me to his uncle, who manages a restaurant owned by the whole family. He says the Karot hydropower project has increased customers, turning the humble restaurant into the large one seen today.
Before the initiation of the project, we did not have many customers. But as the project began and construction started, we saw many customers. The project brought prosperity to the area.
The Cairo hydropower project has also built bridges and schools in nearby villages, helping to boost development in the local area. Cao Shufeng, Cgtn at Cairo hydropower project.
A report by PricewaterhouseCoopers in 2012 said shortages of electricity in Pakistan were losing the country $13.5 billion in GDP each year. And big cities were without power for around 10 hours per day, and the number was more than double in rural areas. Economic corridor projects have added 6,000 megawatts of power generating capacity. So Zune, let me get your take on this. CPEC projects now provide 1/3 of Pakistan's power supply. That has gone a long way in easing some of the country's power shortages. That's pretty remarkable.
It is remarkable. So this report that you quoted, I was living in Pakistan through that period. We would have 10 to 12 hours of power outages, and we would call it load shedding. We even had a load shedding schedule. And Pakistan was in fact deindustrializing prior to CPEC. Industrialists were relocating to other countries because it was simply not possible to make do. And then the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, the first phase when they announced the energy projects, it was, as I said, this is precisely what Pakistan needed.
And Professor, what will be the influence from geopolitical factors, on CPEC?
I think, when we talk about the geopolitical implication of CPEC, we cannot talk about it without India, I guess, right? And the primary reason is that this corridor cut through a region, which is Kashmir, that is still sort of in dispute with India. This is the geopolitical situation we're talking about in that region. Nevertheless, I would say, this is totally irrelevant. The two countries' relationship has been strengthened because of this. The projects are still going on, and continued investment. Also, other, I would say, soft infrastructure type of interactions between Pakistan and China. It's just going to continue to grow, and I think there's no going back, and it's unstoppable. And I think trade, investment will just continue. I think I do want to point out, though, I hope that there's going to be a couple of attacks and accidents have been happening in Pakistan because of this, and I just hope that we can solve the security situation in Pakistan, excuse me, and make it a much safer environment for foreign direct investment in Pakistan. Maybe you can add something.
I would love to. Yes, I was actually, because absolutely, the equation between Pakistan and India is not just a problem for both countries, but it's also holding the region back, and that's something that we hope, with more pragmatic priorities from governments in the region, this can give us more encouragement to improve that and, provide more opportunities. Another factor is to the west of Pakistan and the north of Pakistan as well. So a lot of people don't realize that the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is not just a vision between China and Pakistan and benefits for people and businesses between just these two countries. The actual perspective is to create a space for regional connectivity. So Pakistan's own plan has also always been that we can serve as a hub for landlocked Central Asian countries through Afghanistan, also connect Iran, and really have better synergy in the region. And that is exactly where China and Pakistan's priorities for the region align. So we have obviously progress, we have the perspective, and I think, it's also worth noting that China has played a remarkable role in helping countries in the region, despite the challenges. There have been decades of conflicts in this region, so it will take time. Both countries recognize this as a mutual threat, and now it's time to take those steps which China has been taking to help create the circumstances for better synergy in the region.
Yeah, it could play a bigger role in narrowing development gaps in the region. But Professor, the project now include more social projects, including educational projects on medicine, on agriculture, internet availability, poverty alleviation. Your thoughts on these projects?
Yeah, so this is much called for. I think at a certain level of development between the two countries in economic areas, naturally things would follow. You know, you're just talking about people-to-people exchanges and other areas. One testament to this is the number of Pakistani students in Chinese universities. I have my own PhD. I was just telling Zoon that I have my own PhD student currently teaching at Lahore University, where town where we come from. So I think we can say that the relationship at these levels have been really strengthened over the years.
Absolutely. I would love
sure.
to add to this, so we talk about phases of the Belt and Road and also CPEC, right? Phase 1 has been, obviously the hard infrastructure, which is a prerequisite towards further development, and that is essentially human development. And we have seen in phase 2 transformative changes in Pakistan. 30,000 Pakistani students are enrolled in Chinese universities. We have a lot of interest and practical work on technical and vocational education. The number of conferences and engagement between agriculture experts on both sides, technology transfer in different industries has increased exponentially. And this is really where both countries have prioritized that we will see how impactful our engagement with one another can be. And it's changing the lives of Pakistani people. It is also changing the development perspective within Pakistan. So there are a lot of things, including poverty alleviation, rural revitalization, modernization of agriculture, in which China is generously supporting Pakistan's development.
And just how significant is the factor of people-to-people exchanges and communications among public opinions in two countries contributing to bilateral relations and bilateral trade, Professor?
Well, I think these are the things that make the relationship more sustainable over the long run, and you need this public support for better relationship between the two countries. And I think this is exactly happening in Pakistan. I would love to see more students going to more tourists actually to Pakistan. Over the last 20 or 30 years, we're seeing more and more Chinese tourists going overseas, right? And I think a lot of them actually, go to Southeast Asia, go to Thailand, Malaysia, these countries. Pakistan could be a good destination, I think, right? It's sort of an exotic place to the Chinese culture, and I really wish that more tourists would go to that place.
It's officially the China-Pakistan Year of Tourism Exchanges this year, and we are trying, Pakistani side is also finding opportunities with Chinese partners to help more Chinese people understand, what kind of tourist opportunities there are in Pakistan.
Well, let's also talk to us about non-governmental exchanges going on here, cooperations between research institutions on technology transfers and related topics. Your thoughts on this?
We have seen an exponential increase in the last, especially 8 years, since the first projects were announced. So the number of think tankers coming to China, media exchanges, academic communities being interested in one another, and especially on the practical side, it has increased, and that has a lot to do. I will also add the Chinese government support in terms of giving that first exposure, giving those scholarships to so many Pakistani students who are learning skills that they simply could not have even in Pakistan in some cases.
And you are one of them.
Yes, I've been very lucky. It's true, and
You're
it's
living
the
it.
exposure. Yeah. And it's a kind of exposure, that people benefit from, and that inspires them. It expands their horizons, and they will explore how to further deepen the cooperation, and that's the depth of the cooperation.
It's great to have all your firsthand experiences and perspectives. Thank you very much. That's all the time we have. Professor Jiang Gong and Zoon joining us here in our Beijing studio.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this special program on the cooperation between China and Pakistan under the Belt and Road Initiative. This program is co-produced with Pakistan's PTV World.
And from the Pakistani side, thank you for watching. We hope to see more of collaboration between Pakistan and China in the future.
And on behalf of our team here in Beijing, thank you for watching, and bye for now.